regular meeting of the City of Blackwell to order, please. May we have a roll call?
Braden.
Here.
Henderson is absent. Moen.
Present.
Paulette.
Present.
Murphy.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. Stand if you are able for our opening invocation and our flag salute. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the wonderful blessings we received from you this week. Thank you for the determination of our citizens to get out and vote. I ask that you continue to guide us as we begin another council meeting. Watch over all that are here tonight and give everyone a safe passage home. In your name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there comments tonight?
None tonight, ma'am.
Thank you. There is a consent agenda I'd like you to look over. If there are any items you'd like removed, please let me know. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded.
Braden.
Aye.
Moen.
Aye.
Paulette.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Tonight we have Trust Authority Board reports. Blackwell, BIA, and BEDA. I've just gone down the list and you came up first.
Okay, that's all right. I'll get us kicked off this evening. All right, well, good evening, and I just want to say I thank you all for your patience. I think the last few meetings I have been out traveling, and I missed the last one, so I'm excited to be here this evening to give you a quick update of some of the highlights we've had going on. I also want to take a quick moment to thank all the city leaders and the support that we have received. We have had an enormous amount of economic activity. We have had several companies who have talked to us about expansion projects. I'll elaborate a little bit on those here in just a second. One of the things that I would love to share with you is, if you remember back, we had our railroads. The Blackwell Industrial Authority, Oklahoma Department of Transportation has the rail line here. And it took us 703 days to get that railroad back up and running. Everything has been going well. In between that time, I've been working alongside the Land Rush Rail team, along with the state of Oklahoma and the state of Kansas. We are getting ready to submit a $5,338,000 project, or CRISI grant. That's the Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvement Grant through the U.S. Department of Transportation. I do want to note that this is in the name of Land Rush Rail. The total project that we are submitting with the match dollars that we received from both states gives us a total project of $7.3 million to upgrade this rail line. This is a paramount project and has never happened in history since we've owned this rail. And so we are anticipating an award to be announced hopefully in October. We feel very strongly about that project, so any prayers would be very helpful for that. One other thing I do want to note that we've been working on, most people may not be aware, but Blackwell, a good considerate portion, is listed under the Federal Opportunity Zone 1.0. That is a special designation that gives tax incentives for investment projects in our community. That is coming up for release, and the U.S. Secretary or Treasury has new nominations that go through the state. And so I just wanted to share with you that in order to keep that designation, which provides great value, I did submit a nomination on behalf of Blackwell to the Oklahoma Department of Commerce to be considered for the extension of the Federal Opportunity Zone 2.0. Again, the only thing that it does is just provides us that designation that would attract new investment dollars. To put it to scale for you, if you had an empty lot, if you had an empty lot where you wanted to develop, that investor would actually receive tax incentives to invest into that project. So
Does it have to be in the industrial area?
it would be in whatever designated area they have. I did highlight our industrial park to ensure that at least that got extended. And as I mentioned before, we have had several expansion projects. We do attraction efforts from time to time, but my heart and soul is making sure that the companies that have already invested for years here in Blackwell are well taken care of and get the opportunity to continue to expand, retain the jobs that they have, and increase those. And so I'm really excited that we're in the pre-planning phases with two particular companies. One, early estimates indicate 12 new jobs, adding over $300,000 in payroll. I want to give you an economic impact multiplier for the state. That looks to generate $1.2 to $1.6 million in economic impact for just that one project. So very exciting conversations that are going on. Our city partners have been hand in hand with this, and I cannot tell you guys, I'm loving this momentum, and I hope we keep it up. One final thing, our Blackwell Economic Development Authority is extremely excited to partner with the Blackwell Chamber of Commerce, who I see our president is here today. They will be hosting the very first business expo that's going to be at the event center. This is to highlight all of the businesses and the programs and services that we have here in our great community. Any questions?
And that is in August?
That is August 25th, yes. And the Chamber and BEDA have been sharing that out on social media. So, okay. All right.
Any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Great report. Blackwell Lake Authority, Trust Authority? No. Is there any other authority, Trust Authority board here tonight that would like to speak? Okay, thank you. Finance?
Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Everybody stay dry. I pulled into town tonight, or earlier today. Have you ever, quagmire was about the only thing that came to mind. And I saw water standing here and water standing there. Heck, Jerry and I were talking about it earlier. Just the amount of rainfall that we've had up here. And if you look at the map on 10-day rainfall, it's like you guys are red right here, and then nobody else has any other color around it. So I don't know if you were praying for rain, Mayor. I know we prayed for the vote, but you may have been praying for rain to balance that out. So anyhow, just a couple highlights on financials. Lauren wants me to talk about sales tax because it is the second highest really sales tax number we've received this year, and so that is great for us. The other thing of note, as far as we're looking on that, is our use tax overall. Between our sales and our use tax this year, we're up almost $250,000 over last year's collections, which is great news. And part of it has to do with economic development. Thank you. Give your credit for bringing in some of that, but the developments and those things drive, especially that use tax number. So that helps. But our sales tax also being is another good piece. If you look at it as overall percentages, our year-to-date, we are up about 6% over last year, 3% in our sales tax, 25% in our use tax. So really good numbers as far as that goes. Looking at the financials, overall, you can see on our cash schedule that we're setting total cash and investments, which includes our BPT money and those pieces. We're setting about $28 million. The majority of that, 13.5 of it is restricted funds. So those are all dedicated to some purpose with all of the fund pieces. They go along with it. But we are setting pretty well as far as total cash reserves go in those pieces. We do talk about, maintaining expenditure levels and those kind of things. Our days of cash on hand, $5 million in the municipal authority, somebody's going to say, well, that's just way too much in cash on hand. Guys, based on what our operating costs are, based on what we pay for this, our electric, and what comes up, well, we'll talk about it in just a second, but, you know, I mean, our days of cash on hand, you know, is right at 6 months. You know, I mean, and that's kind of like a bare minimum as far as an operating margin. I'm not saying we're doing bad, I'm just saying it may look like a big number, but because it looks like a big number doesn't mean that it's really out of line or gross negligence of holding too much cash. We're holding up cash to keep us solvent and to let us pay bills, keep our OTAs covered and those kinds of things as they come due. So I'm happy with our financial position on that side, but numbers, yeah, are looking a little tough. If you look at the overall piece, the other two things that I always like to at least talk to you guys about on the big side is the power cost adjustment. Our power cost adjustment, meaning the wholesale cost of electricity that we're paying for, was under 1 cent. So that's a good number for us. We like to know OPA is keeping our operating costs down, and that helps us as far as what we pass through to our customers. The other number that I talked about, and that's the CPI number. So consumer price index number is going to be at 4.2% for the month of April. That is double what we started with and what we built the budget on at 2.1% back when we did budgets in February. We are just continuing to see that rise. The other piece of that I've been sharing is for a long time, I was always giving the 2-year CPI number because it was so inflated and everything. I haven't talked about that in a long time. We are approaching the 6% number in the 2-year running average, which means that we're about to move over effectively 3% a year, which is back into that big zone that I started talking about. So we'll just have to watch. We'll watch CPI. We'll continue to look at it and consider where it is. It does affect us daily, you know, because of our operating costs. You know, right now, just within the departments, our fuel cost is something that's significant, and we will continue to watch that and continue to look at that. But overall, we're still sitting in a good spot, and we're still looking okay. If you're looking at the financials themselves, since she's on the municipal authority and has that up, I'll pull that up. You know, we're about 92% of the way through the year. The big thing that if you're looking at the bottom, you know, you're going to see we're at about $1.7 million. The piece that I'd like for you to really consider in that, the biggest piece that I'd like to consider that is we haven't transferred $500,000 over to the general fund that we really should have. So you can take right off the top $500,000 off of that number. Now the rest of the differences are really related to capital outlay items and capital projects that we had budgeted. Some of it we paid for and we have reimbursements coming in from the loan proceeds. The other part is the rest of the loan expenditures that we pay out. Look down at the bottom, you know, the loan proceeds is about $1.7 million, and we've had $3.4 million worth of capital outlay related to those capital projects related. So, you know, you net those numbers together, and that pretty much eats up all of our net income. So 1.7 of loan proceeds plus the expenditures will eat up all of our proceeds. So we're keeping our municipal authority balanced, but overall, when we look at the net income number, it doesn't always tell us the whole picture as far as where those go. Now here's the highlight. Our May and our June are really 2 of our bigger months, so we still have June's revenues in that piece that will make up probably the difference as we finish out the year. On the general fund, looking at that piece, we will be talking about budget amendments here in a minute. It's on the agenda. The real 2 expense line items that we are addressing within the general fund as far as being out of line are really related to our fire and our ambulance. And that's on the fire side, partially driven by some repairs that we had to make to equipment, but the biggest part of that is really the personnel and just staffing and sick hours, vacation hours, holiday pieces, and the overtime that is still running in that department. So hopefully this next year, that part will be under control, and we won't have maybe the big swings that we have in that. The rest of our departments, whenever you look at them, you know, they're really running well. So between the police, the admin, and what's in our Parks and Rec piece, we're still setting really Sitting here, we are going to finish the year about 318,000. Like I mentioned, 250 of that number, the good, is because of sales tax and use tax. So those sales and use tax numbers are things that we really probably don't consider next year. When we looked at that budget, we weren't up this much whenever we did the budget. That's why we only kept a 10% reserve, just because those are pieces that I don't necessarily expect to be in next year's numbers. So that's kind of our not operating money. I don't want to budget that as operating money because I don't anticipate that we'll stay at that level. Next year, whenever I do talk that our sales tax is down and those kind of things, just understand, we do expect that to be lower than this year. This year was an exceptionally good year for us related to sales tax. Now, I hope it stays up. Don't get me wrong. I hope development continues. I hope the rest of these projects that are in the works and those things continue to come through. And if so, it'll be up. But those are construction driven. Those aren't just operational driven pieces that everybody spends money anymore. With that, do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
The next item will be business. We have some items to discuss and take possible action on. A is to consider approval of budget amendments to the FY 25-26 general fund and other budgets. You're back.
Well, all right. In my defense, Lauren, the budget that I had downloaded, or the agenda I had downloaded, did not have that on it. So, while I have them, I know that they're there. I didn't know where they fell on the agenda, so I apologize. As I mentioned, budget amendments, the numbers that we talked about, we can kind of run through the memo that you have in front of you. General fund is going to be a net zero impact. The law enforcement, net zero impact. Firefighter grants, net zero. Blackwell facilities is going to have an increase of about $134,000 in fund balance. Capital improvement fund is zero. The BPT allocation of funds, because of the additional revenues that we budgeted, we have electric capital projects and sewer capital projects that are about $698,000, so that's a decrease. But those were carryover project pieces. The money was already there last year. We just had increasing cash coming in that ended up paying that part. Blackwell Municipal Authority will have a net decrease of about $218,000, and sewer capital improvement zero. Like I mentioned, we offset pretty much all of the general fund expenses. Like I told you, we've had police and fire that you're going to see these budget amendments there. They're listed there. But with the sales tax offset, we pretty much net that down to zero as far as our budget goes. The other items that weren't zero are all capital related. Sewer projects, electric, or the electric, the sewer, and then the net revenues in the water and the debt kind of make up the difference. So none of these things are new. All of them are big pieces that you guys have all approved as far as budget goes. So this is just doing the formality of the year-end cleanup. Now, I know you'd love for me to spend the next 30 minutes talking about them individually, but if you don't have any questions, I'll sit down.
Thank you.
It's not on my agenda. I promise you.
We need a motion to receive and approve the budget amendments, if you so choose.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollitt,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. B is to consider approval of a school resource officer contract with the Independent School District number 45 of Kay County, Oklahoma, for the school year of 26 and 27.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is just a continuation of the SRO program of the school. We do this annually. I believe we're on our third year, and we would highly recommend approval. This is for the school resource officer for the schools.
Any questions?
I make a motion to approve the school resource officer contract.
I second it.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollock,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. C is to declare the Thunderbolt storm siren horn as surplus property no longer necessary for a public purpose and authorize disposition of such surplus property as the city manager directs.
This was the Thunderbolt hedge that was at the armory. When they took it down, it was the best piece we had, but one little piece won't work with the rest of our system, so it's just time to get rid of it. It's kind of obsolete, but we did replace the one at the armory with a newer one.
Any questions? Do we have the newer one?
It's in,
It's in.
installed, and working, yes.
Ready to go?
I make a motion to declare the Thunderbolt siren as surplus property.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollock,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. To consider approval of mutual aid agreement with the town of Bremen, Oklahoma concerning fire department services.
It's a mutual aid agreement. They've got a new fire chief, and we're just kind of aligning our agreements to respond with them how they need us to now versus the way we used to. That's just they've already taken it to their council and bring it to you guys. Thank you.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve the mutual aid agreement with the town of Braden.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollock,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. E is to reconsider approval of award of bids for mowing and cleaning awarded on May 2026 and to make amended award.
Hello. We sent the award bids to Post Oak Construction for the securing and tree trimming. They did not realize that was all they were going to get. They asked us to please remove them from the bid. We only got one other bid, which was Sparks, asking that we give that to them.
So Sparks will now have everything.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I make a motion to award the bid.
Second.
Been moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollock,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Thank you. I need to ask, do we need to rescind the original award, or just what we've done right now is?
I think you've effectively done it. I mean, they're refusing to perform.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to take that action.
Thank you. F is to consider consideration, discussion, and possible approval of Resolution 2026-0006, a resolution of the City of Blackwell, Oklahoma, the city, approving action taken by the Blackwell Municipal Authority, the authority, authorizing issuance, sale, and delivery of the authority's Series 2026 promissory note to Oklahoma Water Resource Board, ratifying and confirming a lease agreement as amended pertaining to the lease of the city's water, sanitary sewer, solid waste management, and electric system to the authority, ratifying and confirming a sales tax agreement by and between the city and the authority pertaining to a year-to-year pledge of certain sales tax revenue, and authorizing execution of an amended sales tax agreement and continuing other provisions related thereto.
Well, I think that everyone needs to congratulate this board, MACO, and the public
And the public.
in the approval of the sales tax on Tuesday night. You know, it was close, but under sales tax elections, it's 50% plus one vote. And 10 more saw it our way. It certainly could have gone the other way.
but it didn't. And of course, we're wasting no time. As Russ has said, the CPI is going up. It doesn't seem to be going down. We'll see what happens, but it's time to get out into the market, get these dollars, and get this water plant finished. We think that with your approval of this resolution, which would authorize the filing of an application and going before the board for the note that we discussed, we had several meetings where we discussed exactly what that would look like. And the great thing, once again, we can announce is that there will be no rate increases done by way of this because of what the public did. And we didn't make that a real emphasis of that vote. We could have, you could have, but we didn't. And just to remind them, it would have been at least $28, increase per month, which would have been significant. At least with the sales tax, we have, presumably 40% of that is paid by other people, which will be great. But in order to get this going, we've got to get this application filed, authorizing and incurring the indebtedness, making the pledges that are laid out here, hiring the professionals that need to do it. This is actually on the city side. You're concurring what you're going to do on the authority side. The authority actually makes the application. The authority actually gets the financing. The authority actually is in charge of everything having to do with this transaction. But the city has to approve allowing the authority to go into debt. So that's essentially what this resolution is. It talks about other things that will be part of the transcript. But the main thing that it's doing is it's authorizing that on the other side. Of course, we have the city agenda first, but that's that's the way the agenda is set up. We're thinking that this could be done in July. There's no one as happy as probably Matt Coe, because he's going to be able to finish what he's started. And of course, Roman and the whole staff of the water department. But the true winners here are the public. And we really appreciate this, them doing it the first time, particularly in this economic climate and all. This was really a blessing. So.
Do you have any questions, comments?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2026-0006.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Hollett,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Under new business, we need a executive session.
We have no new business. But
We
yes.
have no new business,
Yes.
okay. We need to consider convening into executive session for the purpose of confidential communication between the city attorney and the governing board concerning the claim involving Get Real 2 LLC as against the city of Blackwell if the public body, with the advice of its attorney, determines that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the public body to process the claim in the public interest pursuant to 25 OS 307B4. I would need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Hollett,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. I need a motion to convene into regular session.
I'll make a motion to convene into executive session. Regular session, sorry.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Hollett,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion is carried. There will be no action required for executive session. So the next item is adjournment. And we will begin our second meeting tonight, which is the regular meeting of the Blackwell Municipal Authority. I need a roll call, please.
Braden,
Here.
Henderson is absent. Moen,
Present.
Murphy,
Here.
Olett.
Present.
The quorum is present.
Thank you. Are there any comments?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. There is a consent agenda of 4 items. If you want to remove one, please let me know. If not, I'll consider the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second it.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Olett,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Under business, we've seen this one before. Consider approval of budget amendment to the FY 25-26 BMA budget.
I make a motion to approve the budget amendments.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Olett,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. B is to consider discussion and possible approval of resolution 2026-0007, a resolution of the Blackwell Municipal Authority, the borrower, authorizing a loan from the Oklahoma Water Resource Board in the total aggregate principal amount to not exceed $18,840,000, approving the issuance of the Series 2026 promissory note to Oklahoma Water Resource Board in the total, I just lost my place, in the total aggregate principal amount not to exceed $18,840, secured by a pledge of revenues and authorizing its execution, designating a local trustee and approving authorization of an execution of a supplemental note indenture, approving and authorizing the execution of a loan agreement, ratifying and confirming a lease agreement as amended pertaining to the lease of the City of Blackwell, Oklahoma, the city, water, sanitary, sewer, solid waste management, and the electric systems to the authority, ratifying and confirming a sales tax agreement by and between the city and the authorized and the authority pertaining to a year-to-year pledge of certain sales tax revenues, and authorizing an execution of an amended sales tax agreement, approving and authorizing a note pursuant agreement, purchase agreement, approving various covenants, approving and authorizing application to the Oklahoma Water Resource Board, approving and authorizing professional service agreements, approving and authorizing payments of fees, expenses, and containing other provisions relating thereto.
Well, this is the other half of it. This is where the authority actually moves to file the application to secure the financing at with the Oklahoma Water Resource Board. You know, there's a piece of refunding in this. That's why the number is 18 million in some, and you know, the actual out will be, you know, money that we're looking for is more like 15 million. John, can you come up and explain that piece? I mean, we went over it a number of times, but I think it's important to talk about that piece.
One of the key differences as to the size of 18,840,000, I'm going to try to explain this as simply as possible.
Good.
What's going to happen is the Oklahoma Water Resources Board in late July, they're going to go out and issue bonds. They're going to take the proceeds of those bonds and loan those to you, more likely loan those to the city of Edmond. And when they sell the bonds, they statutorily can sell those bonds at par. Like when you go out and borrow money and your bank says, you know what, if you want, I can buy your interest rate down on your mortgage, you pay a little bit more. Well, when you go out into the public market, you essentially look at who's going to buy those bonds. When we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, a a lot of the buyers of bonds are like insurance companies, pension funds, and so forth. And those particular buyers would want probably 5% interest rate. That's what the market is. We've kind of been in this period, said I must explain this as simply as possible, but where bonds have sold at a premium, where buyers want to pay you more money for your bonds in order to get a higher rate. Now, statutorily, they could sell the bonds at whatever amount they want, but they cannot sell at less than a 4% discount. It could be the flip side of this. So what we have to do is some very basic math. The statutory limit is 4% discount, so we divide 0.96 into the amount you borrow, and it inflates that amount. Bonds have not sold at a discount, less than just the par amount of the bonds, probably over 15, 20 years. And so, but what we have to do is, what happens if the market went crazy? And who knows, can you believe the market could go crazy where we're at today? It could happen. And so when they go to sell, and here's the timetable. Your application is going to be considered by the Oklahoma Water Resources Board on July 21st, along with other entities that are also going to be on that same boat. And then they're going to go out in late July, and they're going to, if approved by OWRB's 9-member board, or 7-member board, they are going to go out and sell bonds the last part of July, and then close around August 9th to August 11th. That's the plan. And so tonight, we say, well, what are we involving? We're borrowing $14 million from the project, and you're borrowing money to pay off the 2015 note. And then you're also, those two numbers together are about 16 million, a little over 16 million. And then we got to divide that 0.96 into that in case these bonds actually get sold at a discount. But there's a limit by state law. And so if you're sitting out there and say, well, we were talking 14, we're refunding, how the heck did we get all the way up to 18? That's how we did. And you're probably going to be looking at the bonds selling at par somewhere in the low 16 millions. Close to par, but we'll see what happens. A lot could happen with, and we've had this discussion before, with what happens globally, kind of where everyone is and what they want to buy, and if they want 5% or they want 4%. And like I said, these are big, giant insurance companies and pension funds that are buying these, and they say, I want 5% and I'll pay whatever the market bears today. And that's how we got covers you. So if the market goes crazy, you're covered. We don't have to come back again and ask for any different amount. I wish it was simpler than that. I wish it was like going down to your bank and borrowing $10,000 for a used vehicle. It's just not.
Well, what if going through the OWRB, of course, I mean, everybody's going to be in the same, in the same issuance. And so then those dollars get allocated out, and we're going to be in Edmonds, right?
Edmonds opening bids coming up. There's probably 400 million plus. We don't represent Edmonds, but we know the people that do. And so that's the intent is there's a lot, every city's just like Blackwell. Well, let's see what the bids look like. Can we get a project done? And they're going to play around with that. But our intent was to get on everybody get on the same boat. But as Bryce had stated, this is a AAA program. And so you're getting AAA rates. And that was the reason OWRB established the program in the first place, was to give the smallest and the largest communities the same interest rate when you go to market. And so, but here's the key thing is, I brought this up, this debt is set to pay off October 1 of 2041. It's going to be essentially a 15-year note. Your asset life is going to be way beyond 15 years. Most of the borrowers that are looking that are going to be part of this mix are going to go out 30 years. We kept this into a very small window. You have other debt that's falling off. this is gonna continue it on, but I don't wanna beat a dead horse. What we did is we went out as short as we could, and if we could get the sales tax extended to 41, we could get this all done, and then you move on to addressing other issues that you have to address. And so, this will be one of the shorter major renovations to a water treatment plant loan that we've seen out there. That's what our goal was.
Do you have questions?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, John.
Long answer to a short question.
Appreciate it. Is there any new business?
You have to
So have we voted on this?
Oh, yes, you have to approve the resolution.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-0007.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollitt,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any new business?
On this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our second meeting. And our third meeting tonight is the regular meeting of the Blackwell Facilities Authority. I need a roll call, please.
Braden,
Here.
Henderson is absent. Moen,
Present.
Pollitt,
Present.
Murphy.
Here.
The quorum is present.
Thank you. Are there comments?
None tonight.
Thank you. There is a consent agenda of 2 items.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second it.
Moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollitt,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. And under business, we have consider approval of budget amendments of FY 25-2026 BFA budget.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded.
Braden,
Aye.
Moen,
Aye.
Pollitt,
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any new business at this time?
On this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the regular meeting of the Blackwell Facilities Authority. Thank you for coming.
We do have some potential for some bad weather about 8 o'clock coming out of Kansas.
Okay.
Kansas.